pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the reading and approval of minutes from June 18th and June 26th.
Motion to approve and suspend the reading.
Okay, motion by Wolf.
Second.
Second by Hack. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Any additions or corrections? Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, motion by Pillar.
Second.
Second by Stern. Discussion. All in favor of the agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. First thing we have on the list here is under 5A is 2018 street project. And I expected engineers to be here, but better than engineers, we have construction contractors.
I saw Ted, the engineer, out there wrestling in the parking lot, was kind of going back and forth.
Are they? So, guys, would you mind give us an update? I saw you guys started paving on Central, and you got that done up to 3rd, I think.
Up to 3rd down from the church, yeah.
Yeah, and then up in the northwest corner of town. How's it going?
It's going well.
Going good up there. We did some 2-inch paving in that first cul-de-sac, covered the gravel on the North Street that he lives on, and then we're just about half done with the next one over. So for the first day, very pleased with how things are going. How's that?
If you're happy, we're happy, I guess. And people can drive on Central now with that, just with the 2-inch lift? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Garbage truck? No?
Be nice not to have the garbage truck.
Okay,
But we're not running tomorrow.
right. It'll still be like that Wednesday though.
So we're on Thursday. Or
We gotta
Wednesday.
pour that concrete curb there before the next lift comes.
Oh, okay.
That'll take a few more days before that happens.
So your plan then, guys, is to go around on all the 4-inch milling to put 2 inches on all of those spots and then go
That's
back?
part of the second discussion. We need to know the guys to come and share about.
Okay.
Because we have the areas that
Okay.
we're concerned about.
Okay,
Well,
All right.
we're gonna keep covering the gravel in the northwest side of town.
Okay.
And work our way around anywhere we can. While we're looking for that.
and I think we're gonna just kind of hold off on, and we'll come back to it once the other guys come in. And
There's what we've got to request of citizens.
yeah, yeah. So let's go down to 6B. I'm gonna jump around a little bit here. Let's go down to 6B, mobile home park concerns, Austin Lindeman. Austin can't be here, but his proxy is sitting right here for him. So what does Austin have to share with us?
Well, we've got 2 questions, essentially. When we each moved in there, we were told that the placement of our houses on our property could not go over the sewer line, which we understand, but there's other houses being, single line, mind you, that are being brought in and being allowed to place their houses in that manner. Well, I guess you can go ahead and, but there's something else to follow that, but is there a reason why we were told we have to do it one way and other people can do it other ways?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. When Austin put his house on, I don't know if, do you guys recall that at all, Casey? Or no? Okay, I think that was before I was in the seat, but
Okay.
And Dick's not here to talk about the sewer and water, but so yours sit behind?
No, we are in front. The sewer lines run
Almost done.
towards the back of my lot,
Okay,
and on Austin's side of the street, they run in between behind the houses. The sewer lines are further back in the lot.
Okay.
And, our houses are set on piers, so I don't know if that possibly has something to do with it, or, but another question, I guess, more importantly to me, when somebody in town wants to move in a house, are there any, is there any criteria or any questions as to the age or the condition of the house that's being brought in? Because I'm just gonna flat say it, there's some junk that has showed up recently up there. And other than going through Custer District, you know, I was just curious if there are any criteria that somebody has to go through when applying for a moving permit or a building permit rather, when they bring something in.
Okay, that's a great question for Shannon. Shannon's our, we don't have a, I remember when, Mr. Krukenberg brought his house up down the street from you, Monty. And he came in, he was bringing in an older farmhouse, and he said he was gonna remodel it, make it look nice. He did a great job. It's a very nice home. So he had to get a building permit also, because he's gonna work on that. So do we have a permit in place for bringing in trailers?
Moving permit,
We do have a moving permit.
And then we do it as just a.
and there are conditions on it,
So it gets on the.
especially for use now.
Okay. But those conditions don't talk about what it looks like on the outside or the inside, or what, you know, if it's dilapidated or, okay, so they can move in a piece of crap, I guess, if they want.
I thought we just had a trailer though that they tried to move in and we told them they couldn't move it in because it was so old and didn't work. And I can't remember who it was. But they were allowed to bring it in.
I know there was a gentleman come in and wanted to, in that general area.
And we told him he couldn't bring it because of its condition.
Are you talking about South and Ray's place?
Counter Paulsings.
That one's coming in?
That one's moving up the street beside Coulter Langford.
So it's an existing house, an existing trailer house is just being moved to a different spot in town.
On our street.
Yeah.
We kind of,
Unfortunately, on your street from one location to another on your street.
right, it kind of flew under the radar, we didn't know anything about it, all of a sudden it appeared. And now that, we understand that it's going to be, it was sold, and now it's gonna be moved up on the corner where you guys removed, did some cleanup here last year. And there too, the condition of the trailer that already exists there, that's being lived in, there's no siding on it, the insulation's falling off the outside of it. You know, are they just gonna keep stacking trailers there, junk, to me, junk, thing?
I'll run out of room eventually, but I know what you're saying. No.
Again, I was just curious if there was any, you know, say it's pre-1990, I'm just picking a number.
Sure.
That there's criteria that is looked at from the city's point as to, does anybody go look at it to see what is being brought in, type of thing? Or if,
I don't think that's the part of the ordinance that we've had for forever. And Shannon would have that information for us, or in Pat, but I don't think,
if,
obviously we don't want junk brought in.
well, if the intention was to move it and re-side it, paint it, you know, I personally don't care what the inside looks like.
Sure.
As long as, but it's very clear to myself and Austin Lindeman that, it's just being moved up there, and there will not be any work being done to it, or.
Do they have a moving permit yet, Shannon?
And I asked him, oh, why don't you just put it onto the lot that your old trailer's on? She said, because we're gonna fix the old one up and rent it out. It's gonna turn into another.
So they're gonna move into this brown one.
And they're gonna.
They're gonna
leave
rent
that
out the
junky
green one that
that's
is-
falling apart.
Shannon, is it going on the north side of
Yeah.
it?
He owns the two
See,
lots on the end.
Where all the junk got
I
cleaned
just
in.
went by there this morning, you guys, and there's a backhoe up there, and they did some digging, what,
There's surface
Curb
line,
stop.
and we gotta put a curb stop in, yeah. Their water is, they don't have any water.
Schwartz is up there.
Well, can we tell them they can't move it, Pat? Is that, I don't know if it's,
What did they already do?
no, it's not
No,
moved yet.
it's, they got
What they have
the,
permit.
It's better than what they got now.
And well, and if, on a personal level, if the other trailer went away, that'd be, this be a little bit easier to swallow for us. But I'm sure as all of you are aware, we're dealing with the trailer across the street from me. And it just seems like that corner up there doesn't ever seem to improve unless the good graces of the city workers come up and help along.
Like last year.
So,
I didn't have any idea there was enough room on the north side of that.
and I understand that my intention isn't to stop this because we understand that this is gonna go. I was just curious, maybe something to look into the future. I don't know if you guys can or want to, but as far as what is being brought into town in the future.
When did that brown trailer come into it?
That came in, was it last summer or the summer before?
Oh, might have been when I was.
I saw the skirtings all, I drove by it too, the skirtings all
Yeah,
torn
skirting
out.
was moved about a week ago when I come home from work, because I didn't know that this was happening for sure. I saw the skirting missing, I went, okay, it's happening, so.
Okay, well, it's one of those situations that's very, I don't know if I say touchy, but you just gotta be careful. Yeah, Pat.
Well, as for that water and sewer thing, where the placement is, as I recall, that's the lot that was developed by Paul Rickenberg.
Okay.
And he installed his own water and sewer and owned it. And it wasn't until later that he deeded it to the city. So the city doesn't even know the exact location, as far as I know, of all the utilities up there, unless you guys have now found them all.
But I think,
So people who build on top of and the city was given an easement, an access easement for both the water and sewer. So if somebody builds on top of that easement, if there's a break, then the city can go in and repair, and if they have to move or whatever.
Yeah. I think Austin's question is though, if we made Austin put his house angled north and south 5, 6, 7 years ago, why are we gonna let this one?
Oh, maybe it's because of that reason, I don't know.
So
I don't know
maybe
where
we
that
need to
utility lines were.
reevaluate where they can put this trailer.
Mine was the same
Thinking
way.
theirs are probably movable, whereas these guys weren't.
Because they're on piers and they're on
Foundations.
wheels. And that
Right,
can
the
be
other
moved.
ones are just a piece of crap you can pull off with a tractor trailer.
But then that's not needs the wheels if they're
Just a difference.
mortgage, and they get a mortgage. Make it permanent, allow it to be fixed.
Well, I'm concerned that's just gonna become a bigger junkyard too. I noticed that too,
It just seems to be that area.
but I don't have a crystal ball, but.
Might be another one.
Well, and not to turn into the jaded neighbor, but, property values. You know, if I try to sell my house, they look at what's across the street.
Yeah.
It's something that's kind of been in my mind too.
Yeah, there's a more than a handful.
Yeah.
Around that area.
Yeah, there's the next street over, there's, issues too, so. That's what I have, essentially something for you guys to think about.
Yeah. Absolutely. We appreciate that, and tell Austin if he wants to come and visit with myself or Monty or Shannon further, and I think that is the issue, is yours on piers, and it's like more like a permanent home.
And I kind of figured that, I just
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
to know for sure.
Okay. All right.
So,
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you.
You bet. But I'm sorry, did anybody else have any comments on this?
I was just gonna say something to that, where my daughter lives in Port in Bismarck, they have quality, requirements in the court with skirting and outside appearance. Since that's no longer a functional trailer court, I don't know if it's,
Right.
the city needs a,
We might have to
similar,
relook at our
yeah.
rules. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna bounce back up to 5A to the 2018 street project. And gentlemen, if you want to come up here and visit with us.
I'll let Josh get started.
Okay.
I guess we apologize for being late. We're out with the contractor looking at some of the 4-inch mill areas. We ran into some soft spots on them. Addressing them has been excavation about 2 feet. And installing geogrid fabric and gravel to remedy the issues. And we're it's just, the concern is that as we move into other ones, it's gonna continue to be that same kind of scenario. And we did some roll tests on them. There's a few areas that are looking soft. The majority of the material isn't looking the greatest. We're looking at a potential option of doing some cement treatment on it. The contractor's coming with a price. It's looking like about a whole lot here. So different.
Kind of what areas are you talking about? I know it's not the whole, everywhere.
So the different methods of pavement rehabilitation, you go from a mill and overlay, which is the pretty minor areas, to this full reconstruct. Somewhere in between is this, where we're doing a more of a full depth milling and we call it mill and fill. So that's kind of the areas that we're looking at. We'll color it on the map, Josh. I mean, we're calling it the red areas or the pink areas, but we got about 15 blocks where the mill has been done and just normal construction traffic driving on those areas over the 3-4 days, 7 or 8 10 2 days. 2 days, okay. So the idea is to mill that off and repave it as quickly as possible. And so we've done one block like that. And when you put the traffic on it or put the construction traffic on it, right away usually holds up pretty good, but after a day or two or a few days, that's when you can start seeing some bad spots forming. And so we've done one block, had to fix one soft spot. So the soft spots are the expensive part because you gotta kind of stop your operation, which operation, dig them out. Very traditional. You get a bad spot, either wet soils, poor soils, whatever it is. Dig it out, repair it, move on. But the problem is that's very costly to do that. So after doing one block and knowing that we're probably going to have 1 or 2 of these spots per block, and just knowing the cost of that, the contractor actually came to us and said, you know, guys, we can do something a little different here. If we just guesstimate that we'll have 1 or 2 of these per block, it's going to be a lot cheaper if we just we stabilize the base. Rather than digging out the soft spots, just stabilize the whole thing. And there's a couple different methods, ways you can do that. More traditionally is a cement stabilized base. There's also ways to stabilize it with fly ash, but you grind in those materials, mix them in, water them, the whole thing sets up. So that's kind of what we're here proposing right now tonight, is that rather than do a block, stop, shut down, fix things, why don't we just fix the, do a more permanent fix on all of the areas. It could end up being cost savings in the end, and we don't know how many of these blowout areas we're going to get, but just from driving the areas that have been milled, it's about 1 or 2 per block, and you should probably all drive in those areas tonight. You can kind of see as you drive down the street, you'll start sinking into them. We can't pave over that. That's not a good situation, because that will shine through in a couple of years, and we'll be dealing with those areas later. So, yeah. Some of the spots that I've noticed here over, the end of the week and like this morning, where it looks like it has heaved and it's loose pavement and dirt. Yeah, are those the spots?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I know you're concerned about cost too. So there's going to be some, doing the cement stabilized base in the project areas, the mill and fill areas. We're probably looking at about $300,000 to do that in the areas. So if we do go down that road, we'll be looking at doing a change order contractor.
they take it from there, they change their operations a little bit, stabilize those areas and keep going. We do know of some cost savings on the job. When we bid the job, this is technical, but we bid the job with recycled asphalt pavements and an estimated amount of asphalt cement binder. And when we bid that, we don't know exactly what their final mix design is gonna be, what contractor's gonna get it, how they're gonna do it. It was a conservative bid. So we know now from getting the mix design from the contractor where we expect to be as far as the amount of asphalt oil we're gonna use in the pavement. We're gonna have a cost savings of about $250,000 to $300,000 there. So what we're looking at doing is making a little bit of swapping here, remaining within budget. We'll be doing a change order to add one thing and deduct another. So in the end, we'll be at about the same point, but it's gonna change operations a little, and we will be processing change orders to do this. So what do you guys think? I mean,
Good question.
Yeah.
The concrete stabilization method versus the traditional digging it down and doing all of that type of stuff, are you sacrificing anything?
It's actually gonna turn out better. It's a better way of doing it, faster. The cement treatment, we can come in and they could probably get all of those blocks done in a couple days versus if we gotta dig them down, subcut them, do all that. I mean, it's like a day for a block.
But in terms of the long-term integrity?
It's gonna hold up better.
Okay.
yeah, so we've got more experience with it doing it on the rural section roads. Talking with Mayo, they've been doing it in some of the western cities here more recently, so we're comfortable with it. We know it. I mean, you add the cement with the fly ash, it turns into rock. So we know it's gonna hold up. But rather than deal with the spots one by one as we go and not know where we're gonna end up, we think this is just a smarter decision now, make the change, fix it, and go on.
At our last construction meeting, we had quite a discussion about, okay, if you're paving and you come up on a soft spot, you can't just shut down 12 guys, dig it out, refill it with fabric, grid, compact it. That just start, stop, just doesn't work. So that's figured into this also, the savings of not shutting them down all the time.
Right.
Sounds like it'd be pretty close to a wash with the change order.
Yeah, the cost is gonna be about the same. It's just, you're not gonna experience that savings that we were expecting. You'll just be at where you thought we were gonna be, so.
I guess which areas,
The mill and fill areas, so they're a little bit scattered, but mostly southwest.
They'd kind of be in the
We
central,
can show you the pink, it's the
central
pink
part of
streets.
the.
okay.
Like there's
By the Catholic Church.
We did a,
Sorry, I'm just.
this is hard to read. Okay, this is our subcut area that we did here Saturday. We only did like 110 feet and have them go down 2.5 feet. And just that little 100-foot section cost over $12,000 just to fix that. And then we come in, we're gonna do the cement treated base, the cost that we got, we could do almost twice as much area with the cement treated base. I mean, just give the price on it and it'll get done faster. This took us almost all day to do that. Okay, so it's the pink streets here. You see this? These two coming up here. This one is in pretty good shape for right now. But this one we paved. Down there. So, all the red ones were the reconstructed. Those were all done and ready to go with fabric and everything backfilled in there. But these are the ones that we just milled this weekend and they're falling apart pretty fast.
So you're gonna take more material out of it.
If we did a subcut, but if we just do the cement treated base as it is, they're gonna come in, they're gonna treat the foot, mix it just with everything that's there. We don't have to pull any more material from the pile out there. But if we did have to go that route, we'd have to process that wrap because, when that mill pulls it off, it brings it up in chunks. And before we can run it through our paver, we have to recrush that down to small stuff to go through. And we'd probably have to do that for these subcuts too if we ended up going anything more than 6 inches because the chunks are too big. You can't finish that with the blade. So the cement treated base, it's cheaper, it's faster. We're in and out of there in a matter of a couple of days versus stretching this out another 2 weeks before we can get down there and pave, and then we're all waiting and looking at the sky when they're next.
And jeopardizing more soft spots, period.
Correct. Yeah, we wanna get in, get these covered, get out of the streets as fast as we can. We don't want any of our trucks moving on these any more than we have to, because we know that we got some issues down there it's not quite holding up to what we.
So in the meantime, if you do the cement treat, you'll still have 2 paving crews paving
We
around
won't
town at the same
stop
time.
paving.
Still,
We'll keep paving, but the decision is very important. Farden is who we would use for the cement treating. They're finishing a project tomorrow in Minot. Steve committed to come here as soon as they're done, if we agree that that's what we need to do. You know, we have 14 days of paving left on this job, so we need to make a decision to do it timely, or we'll be delayed.
Dan, is there up in North Star too? Is there pink or red streets up there? Cause that's,
Red,
I know.
they're already
Those
wrapped
are-
up with those.
those are an S1, those are all subcut, and they already have the grid and fabric down and bed back, they're good to go.
We're paving there now.
Paving
Yeah,
right now.
up in North Star too?
Yep.
Where I live?
No, that's one.
Excuse me, North Star 1.
So on
Cause
S2.
where I noticed them up there and just,
We did this today,
Yep. And the
we're
one
starting
over,
right here,
that one will be done tonight
and
too.
we're gonna just start working this way on these 4 inches and then fill it in with the 2s.
So further east than 10,
the,
next
No,
quarter.
yeah,
yeah.
1, excuse me.
Yeah, that'll be, after we get done with these, that'll be the next one, we're just gonna work our way around.
But yeah, some of those soft spots are over there too.
We haven't gotten up there to totally finish that one, I mean, it looks that way now, but we haven't put the finished grade
Okay.
and the finished blade on it, so.
Okay.
Drive this one, if you get done here tonight, and we're not working on it, this one's gonna look a lot different than that one, because this one's finished up and ready to
So
go.
spots you're talking about over there in your area is on the 2-inch mill where the asphalt's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to,
That's a different kind of patch.
Yeah, we're gonna have to patch those as well as we come along, because at 2 inches, once we pull that 2 inch off, same thing.
Yeah.
There's some softer areas underneath, it's breaking up, because it was all cracked up before. We're just, we're coming up with a plan to fix those. As we see them, we're gonna set down mill, pull them out right in front of our paver and keep on going, because we don't wanna slow that
That's a little easier to fix.
operation down.
Not to fix.
It's easier, it's smaller, it's much more isolated versus, these streets on the dirt, they're huge. And they're several hundred, if not almost a whole block length.
So, unanticipated, but in order to keep these guys moving, we recommend making the decision to proceed with that, knowing that we will be right at above budget. So, I guess, they're hoping to make a decision. The contractor is very helpful, and already talking to their subcontractor to see if they could get in and maintain their, their progress. So we don't want to stop that. Very expensive to mold in and mold out and make decisions. So they were looking at it as a, holy cow, if we got to dig out all these streets, this is going to take days or even weeks, depending on what the rain is going to do. And so it was going to screw up their operations. So
There's a process
Big help
and
to me.
result is a better processing system. It's kind of like the 2000s or this method, the old dig out fabric, that's from the 70s and 80s. So this is something that's got better and more cost effective as people have got more equipment to do it. So the cement treated base is an awesome product and you can't go wrong with that. So it really comes down to you guys and what you think you should do financially. But from the resource of the street supporting itself, that's the best option now.
Jason?
I'm gonna make a motion that we proceed forward with the
CSD.
concrete,
Cement
whatever
treated
it is.
base?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Roll call.
Hack.
I,
Miller. Aye. Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried.
Apologize for bringing this to you last minute like this. It's not the way we like to do things, but when we're in the middle of construction, we gotta make decisions quickly.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is.
came up end of the week through the weekend.
Okay,
I'm gonna sit down and let Josh go through some of the other stuff.
yep, go ahead.
Do you guys need us for anything else?
No, go ahead. See you guys later.
So there's, I guess there's one other kind of unanticipated, issue to go through here. There's a few other areas where there's been some requests for some estimated costs for, some paving. I'll just pass this one over here real quick, just to kind of show like the fire hall. Just a kind of rough drawing of what we're looking at there. So with that one, that was some additional stuff that was requested by the fire department. So we did a cost. So the red area there is part of the parking lot that they were kind of looking to have reconstructed. It would be kind of that. Dig it out, put in geogrid, and potentially, there is maybe some potential to do some symmetry to the base there, which may be a bit of cost savings, or potentially we'd have to talk to them and see if that area would make sense for them to get that machine in there. And then the blue area is kind of what they were looking to. It sounds like they're looking at expanding the building, and they were going to need some extra parking lot in that area. So the total estimated cost on that was like $30,000 to do those improvements. Kind of anticipating get that same 4 inches of pavement, 6 inches of gravel. Then the next one would be the alley behind kind of West River Telephone area, just south of Main Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue. It sounds like there was some concerns about the condition of that alley, so that one, to get some drainage through there, we probably have to do a little more detailed design just to make sure when they get that, rebuild it, that it would drain well. That's again kind of the same, excavate everything out, gravel, fabric, everything. About a $30,000 price tag on that one as well. Then the Parks Department was looking at having the road along the east side of the all-season drain that kind of goes to the back side, and then also I think it's the shed for the baseball field, the parking lot area around that paved. Again, that was kind of anticipating doing the same full depth reconstruct type stuff. It was very limited gravel out there. It's inch, some it's just pea gravel. That's between the two of those, about 57,000. What we were looking at again, that we had some costs in there for some potential drainage improvements once we get some topo of it and elevation set. So I guess those are kind of the extra ones. I don't know what, as far as how you guys want to talk with the involved parties on a couple of these and see if they, what their thoughts are.
Sure. Well, I know that the fire hall, that is in really bad shape there, and that's where they set their dumpster. It's in really tough shape where they back the garbage truck in and out of there. That's probably the worst spot. I'd almost wonder if that should be concrete there instead of asphalt, but it's 4 inch. Or would you say you guys would put there?
Yeah, that was
where the red is.
4 inch pavement. Yeah. We could look at concrete.
Well, I know it's more expensive, but and then the West River Alley, we'd have to talk to West River and see if there'd be, the direct benefit, how that'd be with special assessment. And obviously, the special assessment committee determines that too. But I think we want to let WRT know what the price tag could be. The post office will probably most likely say no.
Won't shut off.
Is that I know a lot of people use that alley. Today when I got the mail, I saw 4 cars go down the alley. Just in the 5-minute span, my daughter was in getting told packages in and out. It gets used heavily, but mostly probably by West River. As any one business. And then obviously the post office, but I can't see them wanting to put any money into that at all. They don't even post office. They don't even own that building. They're rent, yeah. In the parks, that would be on their dime. That's correct, Monty. That wouldn't be us. But
No, the alley behind West River Telephone, that would take you all the way to the north cross street there then, so it would go behind Joe's as well, I suspect.
All the way east to west, all the way through there.
Yeah, it'd be between First and Second Avenue.
East to west.
Oh, the east and west one.
Yeah, east,
East
west.
to west.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have to talk to West River and you probably.
Pat?
Are the park district and the fire district asking to do those in association with this or make it a part of the project?
They basically just asked for what the cost would be, so I'm assuming that.
I don't think they're part of the project. I think just in
They
association.
have their own budgets and they would have to pay
Yeah.
one way or the other.
They just get a better price tag if they do it while these guys are in town.
I think they would prefer to pay it over the time too, rather than paying,
Okay.
and I think they want it as
That's-
part of the project, from my understanding.
Okay, well,
And the post office, they do pay specials, because they don't own that building, so whoever the landlord is, is the owner. they
Sure.
pay specials.
Yeah, yeah.
They've got the meal drop there, that's why it gets.
Yeah.
The mail drop, yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Josh, the settings. Yep, that's the kind of one that we kind of ran into here. So the inlet, just in the southwest corner of Senex there, we were looking at just replacing the casting on it and fixing the separated joint behind the structure there. And they got everything pulled off. The structure's in real rough shape. 3 of the 4 corners are cracked, and there's another crack going down one of the walls of it. So we put together some costs. You know, that structure itself it's kind of a double structure. It's not as wide as the new style double structures. So in order to put another double structure in, that will be a little wider than
So, Casey.
I got the picture of it the other day.
it's gonna be, you know, the cost associated with some removals and whatnot around it. It's about $15,000. If we wanted to go with a smaller structure, there'd be about $3,000 in savings, but you know, there's the risk of that not having the capacity without going through all the determinations of all that. It's probably best, safest route just to go with the bigger structure.
That's a collective site. There's always water in that area, and I know in the spring with the freeze and thaw in and out of there, it's just, I'm sure that's what's destroying that.
I was just gonna ask that.
I wouldn't do it smaller. There's no way.
We dug that thing up and looked at it, you know, we thought that it was, you know, a separated pipe or a broken pipe, but pipe is all intact, the inlet is intact, but there's a gap about 2 inches. So we're not quite sure if it was never connected the way it was supposed to when it was backfilled, or, but I mean, there's just a gap and all 4 of the screws going in that box were broken. So it's been leaking that water and undermining, and that's why that inlet, that structure just kept on sinking down in there. The pipe itself appears to be in decent shape.
So the bid's for a double?
Yeah. It's 6 foot wide. The one that's in there is just over 4. It'll be a little bigger. It'll do that style.
Is that something we need to make a motion on to approve, or is it something that just needs to be done as part of it?
With this one, we have unit prices for all the items. So we would need to do a change order for it at this point. It could be a balancing change order at the end, but.
Let's anybody have any comments, and I don't see going smaller to help it.
I agree, go wide, bigger. Personally.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
That's all good news you got?
It didn't. That's all. No more.
Thanks. Okay. Anything from you, Pete, Ted, anything else?
Nothing for me.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Monty, you know, if this is, if Parks wants to do those 2 spots, can't they just take the loan, get a loan to do those on their own?
Yeah.
So think they talked about their, I don't know if we put that as part of the project, but.
Yeah, it was talked about earlier, and it was supposed to be part of it, but not included. I can take it to the board next week.
Yeah, I know they have tons of money, but.
We could still spread it out if we go that route.
Well, no, they would, if they got their own loan, that would be whatever term they'd get on that loan to do that.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if they're looking at gravel. I don't know.
I'll talk to those guys.
They have some improvement funds, so it could come out of there too.
And then West River, Troy,
I can get ahold of Troy tomorrow and let him know what that estimate is.
I know that Bonnie Krause has been asking for years before she was out of there that she would like to see that improved. And how many times you guys patched it? A dozen times?
They just don't mold, they don't even make a season.
That'd be something that we'd have to talk to Jane Home about.
And for people that live on that opposite side of that alley, they're all a bunch of little old poor grandmas. Maybe knocking them with some big special for the alley they live in.
South of that.
But there is many houses that
No.
abate that, that are go beside that alley.
No,
It's
so they get
basically
hit
J&L.
with, Jadale, West River, and like 4 houses.
But in the same breath, there's a lot of little old grandmas around town too,
Yeah.
Right.
that don't even have a post office box or even drive through that alley.
Right.
And that, if we're gonna spread it out the rest of their
Just so
community.
that, we need for those guys to have to pay
Yeah.
that portion.
Might be
when it's-
something you wanna give direction to the
Assessment.
special assessment board saying this is accessed by a lot more than just these.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more public than,
Who owns the storage shed on the?
I think that's Vern Bezos.
Oh, that's Vern Basler's, yeah, that's right. We get hold of West River then and talk to Troy. Okay. What are your thoughts on the fire hall? Is that something that,
They've been talking to me for quite a while about that.
And that would also be paid by fire department? Are we making it a?
I don't know what the fire department's budget. Well, that's our budget.
I was gonna say, is
No,
that
that's
building
the
owned by the
city's
city?
share of that budget,
That's
yeah.
that'd be a city.
But the rural does have.
So that would be spread throughout the community.
Is it plausible to put it into the project and do it as special? To spread that cost out,
Yeah.
I mean, is there any benefit to, I would think there'd be some benefit to the city as well. because
Well, absolutely.
It'd be the cheap money.
It's our property, so we're gonna pay the special.
Right,
yeah.
right. I mean, in terms of the overall cost,
But if they're planning on doing an addition back here, an expansion, I hate to see them put a new parking lot in here and then during construction, they're driving across that thing with cement trucks and whatever else and tearing that up before it's,
hopefully we
unless they come in
communicate with them and
around
turn
here,
it to road.
stay off of that. That is, that red area is in terrible shape. Actually, it's that whole east side of the building. I think they're being generous by just asking for that portion. We'll have to make a decision eventually if we want to add this to the project or not. They're only gonna be here another couple weeks, babe. So what do you say?
I think yes,
Is that a motion?
that's a motion.
Motion by Pillar to add the fire hall area into the project.
Second.
Second by Wolf. Discussion. Jason.
So then I guess, so like, what's the plans on, I guess, expanding that building, like what time frame?
I've been told by Stan next year they want to do that.
Okay, so it's gonna be.
I've never seen plans of how big they want to go. Dave, do you know?
I'm not even sure on that.
My understanding was they wanted to go where that building, where that portion is where that building, they wanted to go at least 40 feet, I think, wider, and then the whole way back to that.
But this project though, I mean, is gonna get done? I mean, it's not just
You know, I've not been in
I know they're
discussion.
getting estimates from Western Steel as far as cost to do it. And I know they've been looking at grants as well for the construction, so.
Are you thinking maybe hold off on the blue portion, Casey?
Yeah, you know, I mean, just in case, this doesn't get done for 5 years, and, we probably have to do some extra work on that anyway.
I agree.
I guess I'd see that point too, because if we have a winter, we're gonna be driving across that corner.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
And did your motion include all the areas, Dan?
Yeah, the red and the blue.
Okay, so the red and the blue. Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Wolf.
No,
Hack.
No,
Stern.
No,
Omenauer.
No. Motion denied. We have a different motion?
move that we, repair the right area.
Okay, we have a motion by Stern,
second.
second by Hack. Discussion? Roll call.
Stern.
Aye.
Hack.
Aye.
Wolf.
I,
Pillar.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye. Motion carried. Got that, Jared? Thank you, Josh.
We need Jared here.
Okay,
5B.
5B. Survey monuments. Who wants to take that, Josh?
Map? Yep. Kind of a smorgasbord of different reasons for things, but kind of collected the spots where the surveyed monuments have either been removed, some were removed, put in ADA ramps in the corner intersections. A couple have been hit by the contractor, a couple for other various reasons, but put together a proposal to reset all the survey monuments. I believe it's, I think I mentioned last meeting. When you do that work, special land surveyor has to establish those monuments in those corners. Monty, if I'm correct, your ordinance says that if they're removed, they have got to be put back in. Okay, so just gave you a proposal to do a task order amendment. Part of our contract with you guys, we have an agreement to provide these types of services. It's 4 different subdivisions and 7 different blocks, I think. I'd read like the monument or the proposal again, but we can reset all these things. Professional land surveyor has to do the work. You can't just go reset blocks or monuments out there. It's your pin or your count that goes on the surveyor pin when they reset things. That person's responsible for those locations going forward. So think of them each as a different boundary survey. Boundary survey can be $1,000 to $7,500, depending on the location and complexity. These are all lumped close together, so we would propose doing them all at once. You split the work out and do a little bit one time, a little bit another time, a little bit another time. It'd be a lot more expensive to do that. So I estimated one field trip out here with the survey crew to do the shoot existing monuments, calibrate, figure out where everything is, do the field times, take about 25 hours, this registered land surveyor, and then come back out and reset the monuments in conjunction with construction, because a lot of them will go on concrete. So, proposal, I think you got, I don't know if you guys got a copy of it or not, but I give you a range. I'm not exactly sure what the effort will take, but I'm pretty confident it'll be in that $8,000 to $10,000 range to do all that work. Is that what
7 to 9.
7 to 9? Okay, yeah, something like that. And if there's more, there'll end up being 4 block corners reestablished in all those intersections regardless. They may move just a little bit, they may not. depends on what the land surveyor, computes and determines is the property corner.
So how does that work with the ones that the contractor owned, or you're not adding those in?
I've added them all in there.
The advocates, okay. So
Usually,
then part of that building gets billed back to Mayo? Is that how that works?
we can ask Mayo to pay for that. If they damage something like a mailbox or, street light or whatever, we ask them to pay for it. They might say it was unavoidable, so worst case, they refuse to pay it, and you got some options. You guys you're paying them for the construction job right now, so we can always deduct some money from it. They might fight you a little bit on it, but yeah, worst case, you're end up paying for all of it.
How many have they hit? You know?
Josh color coded was, I want to say 3 or 4.
The yellow ones on here, 2 of them were hit by the contractor. No. Yeah, and the pink. The pink ones for sure, and the other ones we think were hit by the contractor, so 4 of them we think the contractor hit.
And it's there's a little bit of a gray area. They couldn't do it, or they could do
Didn't
the
they
work.
say one was in the street?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to move it.
Yeah. Your property corners should not be in the street. That's not what you're supposed to be.
I don't know much, but I think I know that.
Jerry, I would like to see more go back to Mayo and talk to them about this before we act on it.
Okay.
I mean, it's gotta be done irregardless, but,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be done next week, it can be done
right,
during this
that's what
project.
I would personally like to see.
Summer, yeah.
And I don't know, Monty, if you need a motion,
No, not for that.
I'll just tell them that the city's facing a lot of this resetting of pins, and they're gonna expect you guys to pay for some of this.
How does that change what you might consider to be your path forward in thinking about this?
well, if they agree to pay for the ones that are marked, that's gonna be a cost savings in our,
Okay?
But we still have to have it done
But if they
anyhow.
say no, then
No.
are
Well, then
you
we
gonna
still
say
do-
then you
Well,
don't
yeah.
do those?
no, we have to do them regardless. I'd rather not do them and then ask them after they're all done, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather have them more, me and them, ask Mayo before we approve to get them all done. I mean, if they say no, then they say no, then the next meeting, then we vote on it. But if they say yeah, I mean, if there was one, I probably would have made the motion to do it tonight, but there's 4. I mean, potentially 4, right, Jeff, or right there?
I think there's 4. Josh put the map together.
I mean,
This is what we identified.
I understand what you're asking, Dan. I understand. Either way, it's gonna have to get done. But we can direct bill them back, correct?
You
For
can
how-
you can send a
how-
bill to somebody for anything, and then they can tell you to jump in the lake. But
Right,
you
Well, I
ultimately,
don't think it can hurt to ask.
ultimately, you have some leverage because you're paying them millions of dollars for street projects, so you could always deduct it. They won't like that very much, but you do have some leverage there. So, but I don't think it'll be that big of a fight.
Let's ask them, see if their thoughts are.
I'll tell them.
Okay.
Knowing that we're probably gonna proceed, because I do have to get a little bit of land surveyor work done so that we can set some of this stuff along with the project. So I don't need to sign anything, I just knowing that we're probably gonna do it.
It needs to be done.
Yeah, alright.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks guys.
Anything else? Josh?
There's a state water commission planning meeting coming up in Bismarck this month. Somebody from the city should attend that. I know you guys are on the planning list for some potential money in the next few years. So I think it's last week in July at the tribes in Bismarck. Somebody should go. I'll plan to do it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. 6A, transient merchant license application, Smart Home Pros, Inc. Okay, so they fill out the application. They've included the bond. and a check for $25. And that's, they've already been out and about selling big time.
Police department has told them to move on whenever they catch them.
Okay.
That's the,
Yeah. Do we, so right now, it's up to us to grant if they have the application or not.
well, they're going down the right channels now to do this.
If we want to allow them to do it, then we need a motion. If not, then we don't want to, then no motion, and they are denied. It's board's wishes.
Just past history, I know the last couple since I've been here, you have not approved. But they kind of came in really too.
As well as this outfit come in willy-nilly, or not really?
Well, like I said, they've already been in town.
A little
They
bit.
did contact me and ask what the process was, and then fill out the paperwork and send them.
So we deny it, they get their $25 check back, correct? Or no? They do, okay.
You need a motion for that, right?
To approve.
You've asked.
If there's no motion, then they're, okay, hearing no motion,
How do we get a motion?
the vote is,
I would say
I thought we don't vote down.
Yes.
Well, you have a motion to approve, and then.
And then-
you
And then,
approve.
okay.
If you say aye, and if you don't, it's.
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
No, make a motion to approve it, and then if you want to say no, then
Oh. That's how you want to do it. Okay, let's do it that way then.
Yes, we have a motion by Hack,
Second,
second by Stern. Discussion.
I just have a question.
Yes, Casey.
So there's just one application? Is that-
Yes, there's one application for two different people to be in town. And they do have the state licenses for those same two people. You can write a copy for Judge Stranger and Carson Brown.
What are they peddling?
Home security
security.
system. They've been around town before, and have sold their wares, and they came in again to go around without pursuing any licensing or anything like that. And so our law enforcement talked to them and then put them in touch with Monty for the process to go through.
They have sold some of their product, they've seen
Yep.
some of their
And-
orange signs.
And I know people heard about it, and they, but in the process here, they continued to, because they came up to my house and asked me if I heard about them, and I said, yes, I have. And then I went on to explain that I had heard about them illegally, trying to peddle their wares. So then left pretty quickly.
Okay, any more discussion? Roll call.
Hack.
No.
Stern.
No.
Miller. No. Wolf.
No,
Overdauer.
No. Okay, and then you'll contact them
Yes,
and,
I will contact them.
okay, thank you. All right, 6C, street improvement, Park Place, Kevin Mole's location. I know that a number of us got up there, I think all of us got up there actually to take a look at it. Kevin's here tonight. Kevin's not asking for the entire cul-de-sac to be laid out and to cause disturbance on anybody else's property, which ours would be included. The city owns 2 lots right there, and then Marie and Renee Schneider own lots bordering that also. Basically, just is looking for improvement on that area, on the right side of the road, to bring it up to grade. So it's usable and functional to him, and then add a base, add some more fill, or not fill, but gravel or recycle on the road, because I know when that road was built, we stopped at a certain point. It didn't continue up where it curves back into Kevin's home. And I'm speaking for you now, Kevin, but Kevin kind of agreed with Jason. I was up there twice and went with Mr. Hack, and Kevin would be happy to even do he'd move the material himself. We just brought it up there and laid it down there for him, even on the road and in that fill area on the side of the house there. Anybody else want to comment to what they saw or think about that? I think it's nice that Kevin's willing to, I guess you can call it cost share, if he's going to be doing or have the material moved. We just don't need to get it there. Do we have any other thoughts on that? Kevin, you have anything you want to add?
No, I guess if you went through back to that first picture, I know you guys all were up there and saw it, and it's hard to see the flags and stuff, but you can see the cul-de-sac dips down in this area, which is visibly low there. And I did a string line survey. Coming up the road, I figured about where it looked like it was on a most reasonable grade, and then I did some string line survey across there, and the average depth, well, it varied, but the average depth was like close to 5 inches of material through the affected area, which I estimated. You can see how the cul-de-sac goes right now, where it's high, and then the road comes through here, and then the low area. And just an eyeball average, the deepest portion would be somewhere between 10 and 20% of the cul-de-sac area, and this might be as close to maybe 30% of the cul-de-sac area. So that total amount of material would be about 70 yards of material for the 30% of the cul-de-sac area at 5 inches. Backing off that, splitting between the subfill and a portion that would be, what did you call that stuff? Recycle. Or, yeah. That material would reduce that total amount. So if you say brought up maybe half the amount of fill, and then we've seen how that did with the subgrade, then you could come back up later with the later on this year, like you said, towards the end of the the project, when they have that material available.
So our recycle pile is now gone, that we ground up last summer, it is all gone. So I told Kevin we need to see what we have remaining for recycle after the street project's done, which apparently I think we're gonna have some, but
yeah, and what is it? What is a truckload of?
Well, those side dumped semis were carrying 17 yards per truck.
17.
Yeah, but
3 or 4 truckloads.
And Dave, we have some fill.
Yeah,
We have some fill to put up and take up there. Okay. And past the end of that street there, Kevin hasn't been living there, by the way, so we haven't had to take garbage truck up there yet. So, get off that gravel, it's not a real great base there, so we want to improve that, if nothing else, for our own good, for the garbage truck and for snow removal too. So, anyhow, Shannon, do you have anything you want to add to this, or? Okay. It's kind of a little different situation of a cul-de-sac. I don't think that, well, if we actually ask more to put the entire cul-de-sac in the way it's supposed to be, in the way it's on paper, it would disturb a lot up there, and I don't see why we need to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. But, and it doesn't affect our properties positively or negatively where we have our 2 lots that we're trying to sell yet. So. I've seen a lot of napkin drawings, not too many paper plate drawings, I do like
It's
that.
actually
Well, I was
kind of
gonna come in and say I have a couple of things on my plate. And the other thing is, a lot of times people come to the city meeting and want their cake and eat it too, but they don't bring a plate, so. Get what they want.
So any objections to moving some material up onto our street area to raise that up a little bit? And I would just have, Dave deal with Kevin on getting that, the fill portion, not the recycler, the gravel yet, but on the fill area.
Yeah, if we can get that fill in there, and then when Wade comes up and does the rest of my landscaping, I'll just pay him for whatever it takes to level that. He's got such a great eye on how to transition. And so I think a real easy do, because you've got some baseline elevations that are nearby, like the hydrant and stuff, so it's really easy to visualize.
And you don't plan on changing any drainage, it's all
No,
in the same
not.
spot.
No, it's all draining down that way. You can see from the northwest rock on the hill that drains towards the road, and then from the post where the center of or where the north manhole is, it drains south. So from my garage, it drains away, and on the other side, on the north side of the garage, is where the apex is, and then it'll drain to the east there. So no, the cul-de-sac would drain naturally. It's just that we want that low spot filled.
Okay. All right. So Dave, will you take that by the horns?
Yep.
I just got one,
Casey.
I guess we were maybe gonna pave that street leading up to this cul-de-sac. I guess what was Moore's, I guess, idea on this?
There was some, I think, we were kind of gonna expand the cul-de-sac up to the north a little bit. We were gonna make it a full cul-de-sac. There would have been some kind of cut into that hillside. Generally in that area, I think it was gonna stay pretty close to the same elevation as it was, the main gravel portion there, and probably some fill kind of in that area. Generally, it's pretty close to that same.
Dave, did you guys move any snow out of there this past winter? I cannot remember.
I don't know, I don't think so.
So we weren't up there winter, we went south at the end of December, and I've gotten pictures from Murray and Renee up there, and it really blows down nice through there. It really keeps it clear. It swirls a little bit again behind that rock, in between the rock and the corner of the garage. It swirled in there and built up a bit of a snowbank, but it didn't even.
Well, if Kevin continues to go south for the winter, we don't need to do snow.
I mean, I don't know. I would just leave it that gravel stage, I guess. What
Yeah, we're
do you
not
think,
gonna-
Casey?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we don't do all this work and then pave that in like 5 years after we tear it all out.
Yeah, so, I see what you're saying.
In fact, just a little, to speak to that a little bit, I've even heard, people say, well, the way the property is currently owned, why would you even need a cul-de-sac up there? You could terminate the street there. Snyder's don't use it. If the street terminated up towards my place, you driveway into my house from the street, so basically, a paving job wouldn't likely include that 70-foot radius all the way around.
It should, because eventually you're gonna have a garbage truck up there. Where are they gonna go? They're gonna just they gotta go somewhere. Besides just driving.
Oh, I hear you, yeah. So however they do it on other dead-end streets, then I guess I don't know, how wide they make them.
And you can really only say there's no cul-de-sac gonna be there as long as you and Snyder's live there. there's no guarantee that you're gonna be there in 20 years, so.
And then,
I mean,
we're
that's what you're
looking,
looking at, is in 5 years, you could sell your house and then somebody else wants the cul-de-sac there,
very well, yeah, I understand.
so.
And I think what we're talking about is
But what we're looking at doing isn't gonna
It isn't gonna,
affect.
being a little
Right,
proactive
right.
now that all the dirt work's going on, that some of the that's getting hauled away
Yeah.
can probably be utilized for a good.
And if Kevin decides to plant grass out where the cul-de-sac is, and someday we say we're paving this,
Yeah.
well, it's gonna lose some grass.
Right.
Okay, any more discussion on this? All right, thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Tell you what, Jerry, sorry. So we're just gonna go roughly 4, truckloads? You guys according,
That's
go from there?
the way.
Now, we'll work together and determine when it looks
Okay.
like there's enough in there and then wait for the gravel at the end of the project.
okay,
All right.
thank you.
Okay, down to 8A, liquor license for the hub.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a good night. So, I asked for this to be put on the agenda for tonight, take action on it or not. I think we've all had plenty of discussion inside the room and outside with other community members. I've had it with several other communities and owners of Senex and Richardson, Washburn. What are you guys' thoughts?
I would make a motion to approve the application
As
as is,
beer,
as is. He says all liquor, doesn't he?
okay, we have a motion by Wolf,
I'll second that.
second by Pillar, discussion.
I guess I know that some of you want to limit it to certain products. I don't know that we should limit it. I think they're gonna be limited by space and probably by sales. So I feel it should be their choice. It's gonna be a bottle shop. I think they should be able to sell whatever a bottle shop sells. So that's my feeling.
What are your feelings on space limitation and how we, with security and things like that?
I think he covered a lot of the bases on the security issues. The state does regulate. They do checks on them. I know our police department is probably gonna watch them also. And I think that the people who work there are probably gonna be responsible enough to do their own security. They should be. And I think we've kind of talked to him and said, it's probably gonna be watched really closely by the community because it's gonna be new. So I think he covered a lot of it, I really do.
Casey?
So then on this, I guess, like license, it is, like year to year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's problems,
You can deny it next year. They have to come back every year.
I'm not in favor of the alcohol part, of the spirits part. I think that just the beer itself would be sufficient.
I think if you
And
limit
wine,
him
beer
to
and
beer and
wine.
wine, you're probably helping him fail a little bit. Because there's gonna be only so many sales that he's gonna have in beer and wine. I don't wanna see it fail. I don't wanna see them stick a lot of money into it and not have a chance.
Okay.
And if selling 5 more bottles of whiskey is gonna help him, then, give the people the options. Every other bottle shop, you have all your options, not just beer and wine. Those are my feelings. I
Well,
don't
they
know.
have, they have limitations on grocery, without a grocery store.
But their
they don't have-
limits, but their limits,
Yeah.
they set their limits.
Sure,
Right now, you wanna set their limits.
I do, yes.
So, I don't think we should. I think we don't set limits for what the other stuff they sell. So, I mean, that's my feeling.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Wolf,
I,
Miller,
Aye.
Stern,
Aye.
Hack,
Nay,
Omenauer.
No. Motion passed. All right, I think we'll just stay in touch with them as the project proceeds and how their plans and
make sure that he lives up to what he proposed. I mean, he did propose a good proposal
Yeah, he
for
did.
building it, and I'd like to see that happens. We can't force him, but to encourage.
and just like you know, to add on, I was kind of in the same mindset as Jerry, if you're wondering too.
Oh, yeah, it's a personal preference.
Yep.
9A, President's Report. The only thing I want to mention is this past week with the rains we've had, today we had a lot of water leaking back by the bathrooms in the city hall roof here. Even this around 11 o'clock, it's still spongy and coming down the wall a little bit. Did you get a chance to get up there yet today?
We'll
Or?
do that in the morning.
Okay.
Get up there.
Hopefully a drain is plugged and it's not draining well.
That was leaking this winter. I went up there when there was snow on the roof and there was no snow anywhere near the drains were open, but we're getting some bubbling up and that's.
How long ago did we do? 3 years ago, yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty poor quality, or I don't know if it's quality or it's product or.
Like a couple years earlier, we were up there, there was leakage, well, it was actually snow drifts and ice over drains, but that last time when we went up there,
Yeah.
the drains were wide open, snow really wasn't that deep.
If the drains are not plugged when you go up there, then we're gonna have to look at different expense, I suppose. So, let us know. Water sewer,
I don't have anything this time.
okay, street, cemetery,
Really, the only thing we touched on earlier about paving, the other thing is, we got a different idea, excuse me, for the, I talked about the old dump truck and the international dump truck last week. We got we're exploring different options, I don't really wanna throw out the details now, but I told Dave I want some hard numbers on paper before I come back to you.
so is that something for the new budget then you're looking at, or?
Well, what we're looking at is utilizing the existing box of the Freightliner instead of taking the international box, putting on the Freightliner, and then have to look for a box when we get rid of the garbage, the old garbage compactor.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Once we get a clean quote, then I'll.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Finance, busing,
Nothing at this time.
police, fire, forestry.
Nothing at this time.
I'm gonna cross into the forestry for a bit, I think, next week. John Dahl and I are gonna go around town and start identifying Dutch elm. He's already found a few, and we'll just take a few hours to drive around and start marking things. There are quite a few, not just Dutch elm trees, but dead trees that are, you know, a few years ago, that dead tree and, can't remember her name over here, but fell on Mel Beckler's roof. You know, and we should have told them to take it down. We saw it was dead and we didn't, so we need to send letters to people, so. HCD.
I really don't have too much. Couple weeks, we've got the pop-up project gonna take place on Main Street, so things are falling into place for that. Dave and I and Anthony have been working behind the scenes, so hopefully things will go well for that.
Thank you, Buster. 10A, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. We had a noise ordinance letter that was, you all saw. And Dan is looked at our report of what the city is, or the police have done with enforcing noise ordinance. So, and he's already been in discussion with the police department, so. Any other comments on the letter from Mr. Quinn?
I guess when you have a business close to residential, you're gonna hear noise. My daughter lives behind Carlsy Super Value, and there's some noise involved. You know, it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
It's nothing you can do. I mean, some of the ones that they stopped, are they are breaking the law, but.
Anything else?
Well, the one thing that I had shared with Jerry is in the monthly report, there are several occurrences called out where the police have addressed individuals as it relates to noise concerns. So it's not that they're turning a blind eye to it. Not only loud noise with regard to vehicles, but loud music as well. So they are addressing those type of situations within the city.
So they're not being totally delinquent like the letter states. Okay. 11A, 2019 budget. Monty?
Provided a copy of some of the preliminary numbers, just, guess that's a starting point. We've thrown in most of the wish lists that have been brought to me. I don't know if anybody else has anything that they've heard about, but we'll, I guess, just visit with your portfolio supervisors, and we'll have a budget meeting when we sit down and go through line by line, if that's what you'd like to do later this month. So we get it to the county.
It's the third Wednesday. I will be here on the 6th. So the 16th is our next meeting.
Yes.
You want to do more in-depth detail after the meeting, or
we
a
could set,
different night?
we'll set another meeting night that works for everybody, and like we've done in the past, and sit down and go through.
What's the latest date you want to do that at?
Well, so long as we're ready by the August 6th meeting.
Okay. All right. I know that's some of you guys have already been doing that with the department heads. Okay. That brings us down to approval of bills. Thanks, Pat.
Make a motion we approve the bills as presented.
Motion approved by Pillar. Second by Stern. Discussion. Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Hack.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Aye, motion carried. All right, thank you all.
Commissioner and Chief